Peaky Blinders fans are well aware that Tommy and Lizzie's marriage has been rocky, but they believe he has gone too far. Will Lizzie reconcile with Tommy after he betrayed her? Keep watching the video to find out. Peaky Blinders fans are outraged at Tommy Shelby for betraying his wife Lizzie in shocking scenes. From the touching tribute to Aunt Polly to the devastating death of Ruby Shelby, fans are convinced Tommy has crossed a terrible line and that his marriage is now irreparable. Tommy and Lizzie have frequently argued over the years, particularly about his infidelity. He's clearly still madly in love with his ex-wife and hasn't been kind to Lizzie, but in recent scenes he appears to have reached a new low. After the shocking failed assassination attempt in Season 5, things remain tense with fascist politician Oswald Mosley and his partner Diana Mitford on the scene, and Tommy has betrayed Lizzie by sleeping with Diana. Unsurprisingly, Diana has turned this encounter into a weapon, telling Lizzie about it despite the fact that she was already in a dark place following the death of her daughter Ruby. Diana told Lizzie, "Elizabeth, you're a very lucky woman to have each day, but I've only sampled once," prompting her to flee the room in humiliation. Fans are outraged by Tommy's behavior, believing he's finally gone insane after a string of terrible events, including Ruby's death, Michael's betrayal, and news that his own health is deteriorating. Given Diana's connection to Mosley, whom the Shelbys have been attempting to bring down for some time, it appears that Tommy and Lizzie's marriage may be over, and he later told Lizzie that he regrets marrying her and that he's cursed. How did Lizzie and Thomas Shelby meet? What's the story? Lizzie was a former prostitute who lived in Birmingham's Small Heath before joining the Shelby family and becoming Thomas's secretary. When Thomas Shelby learns that Lizzie is going to marry his brother John Shelby in 1919, he confronts her, offering her £8 to see if she's still a working prostitute. When Lizzie accepts the money, failing Thomas' tests, he informs John, who questions Lizzie and then her family about it. Lizzie tells him Thomas is a dirty liar, but her family tells him she's still working, but only with regular clients. John concludes that Thomas must have been a regular customer, which she later confirms and cancels the marriage. Despite their unfortunate circumstances, Lizzie and John become friends. After hooking up with Tommy in his office, Lizzie is next seen in episode 2.1. She admires the typewriter and tells him she has one and is taking a correspondence course to learn how to type with her eyes closed. He places the money on the table, which she accepts before informing him, "I wish you wouldn't pay me just once," as if we were everyday people. Later in Thomas's office, he asks her to close her eyes and leads her to a seat at the desk. If winter comes, can spring be far behind? He covers her eyes with his hand and asks her to type on a typewriter. He offers her a job as a secretary for his Shelby family's expanding business, paying her £8 and 4 shillings per month and telling her she can stop prostitution permanently. There will be no exceptions. Lizzie accepts the position. Lizzie was present at the Garrison Pub's new grand opening. Arthur Shelby, who was high in Tokyo at the time, offers her a light for her cigarette. Lizzie is escorted by Jeremiah Jesus to Thomas Shelby, who had told her he had a job for her to do at the Epsom races on Derby Day. Lizzie discovers that the job entails dressing up as a prostitute and luring a soldier named Field Marshal Henry Russell to a quiet location when the races begin. Despite her initial reluctance, she completes the task for Thomas. Before leaving, Thomas promises to save Lizzie from being forced to sleep with Russell. Thomas is late in finding Henry Russell, but he eventually kills him, although not before Russell almost rapes Lizzie. Lizzie angrily points Thomas's gun at him and shoves him backwards before fleeing. She's later seen bruised and cut at a table, joined by Arthur and John. John believes she got her injuries from her old job, and while she doesn't tell him what happened, she tells him she doesn't see the same look in his eyes as she does in Thomas's, and that he should get out. Throughout 1924, Lizzie's involvement with the Peaky Blinders becomes more apparent. Her relationship with Angel causes problems for the Peaky Blinders, and Polly forces her to break up with them, thus resolving the situation. John, on the other hand, does not believe the Chingreta's threat is over and beats Angel and his men, threatening them and telling them to stay away from Lizzie. Life becomes difficult for Thomas after Grace's death, and Lizzie admits to Polly Shelby that she has been sleeping with Thomas on occasion since Grace's death. Following Grace's death in 1925, Lizzie and Tommy become closer. Tommy takes Lizzie to the canal in Blackbird, revealing that he used to wait there for Greta before going to France and that he hasn't been back since, but wanted to go back with Lizzie. He kisses her and the two have intimate relations by the canal as a result. Following that, he instructs Lizzie that Shelby companies to increase non-taxable charitable donations to charities by 25% as of that time, and he's to build 2 new institutes for destitute children with Lizzie in charge of the project. Tommy admits that he promised someone that he would change the world and that he wants to keep his promise. Lizzie becomes envious of Tommy's interactions with May Carlton in Dangerous and turns to alcohol. She eventually speaks with Polly, who informs her that Lizzie is pregnant. Lizzie admits that Tommy is the father of the child. In the duel, Lizzie reveals this information to Tommy, and Tommy insists that she take paid leave to care for herself and the baby. During 1929, Lizzie begins to lose contact with Tommy as he begins hallucinating about his late wife Grace. She writes him a letter in fear of losing control of his company, but he ignores it and the two grow apart. Linda eventually visits Lizzie, admitting that she has looked for a solicitor to divorce Arthur but has been unable to find one. Lizzie admits that she will have to look for one in London because no one in Birmingham would dare to divorce a Shelby. When tensions between Aberama and Tommy rise, she fires a gun into the air, demanding that Tommy leaves the house and the children and never return, but is dismissed by Tommy, who tells her to go back inside and call an ambulance for Aberama. Lizzie reveals that she too found a lawyer willing to divorce the two, but decided to stay with Tommy because that is what they vowed when they married. Lizzie promises not to be with anyone else, and Tommy promises not to have any other relatives in the same house as Lizzie, while also proclaiming that she's his. The film adaptation of Peaky Blinders has been officially confirmed. Peaky Blinders Season 6 will conclude the TV show, but the film will replace the cancelled 7th season, according to the show's creator Stephen Knight. Will Lizzie appear in the upcoming film? The film's cast is yet to be decided. Stephen Knight explained that they were already in talks with great actors for the film, but that they wanted to continue to focus on emerging talent. The main cast was asked if they wanted to be in the film. Natasha O'Keefe, who plays Lizzie Shelby, told Digital Spy in 2019, "I think the format of 6 episodes per series because it moves forward in big chunks of time between series, it kind of works at the moment. You get this snapshot into their lives and then they've moved on. It could be a film, but I think British TV is such a good place right now that it's one of the shows that we should be really proud of, and it works on this long format." During a BFI London Film Festival panel, Knight revealed that the film will begin production in Birmingham, England in 2023. Knight also revealed at the time that he'll be writing the film, which is not entirely surprising given that he has been the show's writer for the previous 6 seasons. The show's plot has been planned to cover the events leading up to World War II, so it stands to reason that any potential movie's plot would cover that conflict as well. Plus, it would make an appropriately epic setting for the big screen adaptation. And that's all for today's video. Please share your thoughts on this video. Who do you think will appear in the Peaky Blinders movie? Do let us know in the comments below. Want to know more things about the Peaky Blinders or Thomas Shelby? Please subscribe to our channel for more such exciting content and latest updates. See you in the next one.